Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Friday, so you know what that means. It's another episode of Millennial with Billy and Mel. What is going on, guys? Back-to-back weeks. Like I said, we're back in action. And so we appreciate everybody that's going to be coming on today. And what we're going to be talking about is going to be a really, I feel like, an interesting topic just because a little controversial, right? We talked about getting a little bit more controversial in some of our topics. And so it's the top 5 things that men and women do to each other that really annoys the crowd.
And Billy came up with these topics. So
yes,
many of you that are just newer listeners, there was a time where something would happen and I would text Billy and say, we're yelling about this. So there were many topics that I had chosen because of very specific personal experiences, and I wanted to yell about it. But the last few topics, these are all Billy. So,
well, I mean, this isn't like something that something sparked.
I know.
And sparked this conversation. It was just, I literally was probably I was scrolling through Facebook, right, and it was just one of those stupid ads that came up, and it was like, oh, what annoys you about so and so? And I was like, you know what, that would be a great topic, because there are things that, and like I said in the caption, there's a lot of things that you love about the person that you're with, right? That's why you're with them. But when you spend a lot of time with people, right, in general too, it's not just in relationships, it's in friendships, it's in anything, you start to notice little things, right? And so I looked up an article and I found some stuff, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be interesting to see what Mel's perspective is on mine versus my perspective on the ones that she is going to talk about today. But like I said, before we kind of get into that, if you're jumping on with us today, make sure you comment who you are, where you're coming in from. We'd love to give you a shout out. And if you're going to be watching the replay, listening to this later, make sure you let us know, tag us in it, tag us in your post or something like that. Let us know you watched, because we really appreciate it. So like I said, now that we gotten that all the way, Mel, how are you doing? How's your week going?
It is great. I got some major headway with some of these nonprofit events I'm working on, and going to be a really, really, really cool big charity event coming. I'm going to talk about it probably next week. I just need to get some information, but really cool in that direction of event. Just more of the concepts and the consulting on the ideas. And, obviously I've done event branding and design work, but gotten into a little bit more on the creative ideas. And I'm really liking that. So I think I'm going to, keep in that direction. As we say, it's okay that we change our paths a little bit and where we go, but yeah, just did the Iron Hill Brewery. You'd love Iron Hill Brewery mug. 25th anniversary last night came out. We do our King of the Hill nights every Thursday, first Thursday of the month. And we finally, after a year and a half, got our special mugs. So that made my week.
I saw that post. I didn't really dive into it. I saw the mug, and and I saw you tagged Iron Hill.
Yeah.
Iron Hill is a great brewery. I love their stuff. They got really good food there too. So
yes, I've always had
as
good
well.
Food, yeah.
So good stuff. So, but yeah, my week has been a lot of organization, especially on the business side. I'm getting some processes down that are really going to streamline my business. Especially just because there are things that, that probably I don't need to be spending a ton of time doing, right? If you can find something that automates it. And so interesting, like I said, before we get into this conversation, I don't know if you've been seeing on Instagram or on Facebook, but you've seen a lot of these, the one I bought is called The Dot. Have you heard of this before?
No. What is it?
So essentially what it is, it's a little dot, and it goes on the back of your phone. They also make cards too, but it's supposed to replace
a business card. Don't tell me this. That's what my business does. I make business cards. So you're trying to run me out of business or what, Billy?
No, but I'm trying to do something different just to see.
I like them, actually. I do.
Because, there are people that still like business cards. I love business cards. I love collecting business cards. So,
But I mean, we're going to like, come on, let's be honest. It is a digital world, and like with technology, that we all are gonna go on and follow people on social media and want their email address and want their phone number. And even if you get a business card, paper, you still have to put all of that into your phone. So
yeah,
I do love that.
yeah. I
And
don't
I
think
just,
it's
yeah,
yeah, I don't think it's going to replace the business card. I think obviously there's people that are adverse to that type of technology, but I found it really interesting, and I already set it up and stuff like that. And so it was only
cool,
$20. So I'm going to try it out, see if it works.
nice,
Um, but yeah, so doing stuff like that just to kind of streamline my business. I got a new CRM system, so I'm really excited about that. So really looking
very
forward
cool,
to
good,
all that kind of stuff. So
good.
that's what I'll spend this weekend, is even optimizing stuff.
I want to
Even
check with you. I don't know that we are connected on our Facebook page.
Are we
Can we
not?
add it in? Can we edit it? Here, I'm gonna
Oh,
add
we're
it in.
live on my page.
I'm gonna change it. Leave it
There
to
you
the
go.
woman. Just kidding.
Look at that. Now we're live. Now we're live everywhere.
Okay, good. I just went
So
because I usually share. I usually go in and see. I have to make mine public, and then it wasn't there. So sorry.
yes, sometimes technology works, just like I was talking about technology, and sometimes it doesn't work. So
That's okay. I
you
think
know,
we're good.
but anyways, we're gonna get into it today, talking about the 5 things that men do that annoy women, and the 5 things that women do that annoy men. So, before we get into this, do you have anything you want to say before we kind of get into all this?
So I have 5 that are kind of branded. Oh my God. I have 5 that are actually kind of funny. Like they're very much of an annoyance pet peeve.
Yeah, mine are very
And
lighthearted.
lighthearted. And then I have 2 that are more serious. So I'm going to save to the end.
Okay,
So I want to
I
go
don't.
straight, I'll preface.
I don't have all. I only did 5, and like I said, mine are all lighthearted. I didn't do any. I don't really have any serious ones per se. Mine are all just like little like surface level stuff. So,
Right.
um, and before I get into this, Megan, I love you. None of this is
I
directed towards
know.
you.
Oh, wait. And by the way, this isn't all men and all women.
Yes,
I
yes,
hate more than anything generalizing. And we've said that at one of our beginning podcasts that all the annoyance. We don't like generalizing, not all women are crazy and not all men are assholes. So
yes.
this is definitely more based on, I would say, just us, but
Stereotypes, yay.
no,
And
not stereo. That's what I'm saying. We're trying not to make it.
yes, we're trying not to stereotype everybody. We're just going off of what we've maybe seen or experienced throughout our entire existence of life, not just in the last
Lots of men.
couple of years. Yes.
I've come into counter. Not like
So
that. I don't mean like
no,
that. I just
no,
mean
no,
in my life.
but anyways, right? So
Yes.
I'll let, since I'm going to be a gentleman, right? Because all guys are gentlemen, right? So, ladies first. Go ahead with your very first one.
Okay.
That annoys you. And
One of
I'm
my
wondering if some of these, like, if a 1 or 2 of these are going to overlap. I'm interested to see.
like men and women. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's not
Yeah.
just men that do this stuff. It's not just women, but it's just
Yeah.
funny stuff that okay. So I think, and it's I'm not gonna say all men, but every single man that I've ever been with, including and then my dad, okay, so I can say this, can't find anything. Like when you're going to look like, you say, can you go get this? Or open the cabinet, can you grab this? I swear to God that I have watched men open cabinets and I know exactly where it is because also I'm a freak and I know where everything is. I can tell you exactly where it is. And they're like, nope, it's not there. I walk over, I pick it up. It's like, it's there. And they just like, for some reason, I feel like men just like don't see things. Like, and there's this whole meme that one was going through recently. It's like, okay, can you go in my purse and grab in the zipper is like my lip gloss or, my such and such in the zipper part, like telling you exactly. And then you come back with the purse, like here, whether is that like, I just can't find it or it's like, I'm just not even going to look or I don't want to go through your purse.
Yeah.
Either way, it's just like being blind to like finding things that are right there, right there.
Yeah. So, if Megan's watching, she will totally agree with you because I am going to fit into that stereotype, and I'm gonna prove. And I have Exhibit A. So there's this little card I have, right?
Yep.
It's not a credit card, right? It is called a tile.
Oh,
And what you do is you put this card into my wallet, and when I lose my wallet,
yes.
it rings.
Oh, there you go.
So, yes, I feel like this is vast majority of guys. Like, I mean, probably the number one thing we lose the most are what? Wallet, keys, phone, right? It in not any particular order. Probably, I would feel like keys are the most lost thing by guys. But I mean, I know that, like you said, I know a ton of guys out there that are very, organized, have things certain
Mhm.
places. I try to put my stuff in the same place. Doesn't always work. I think I need like a little like thing right by the door where I can just put
Yeah.
all my stuff in. Right.
I have
That's
one
what
of
I need.
them. I have one of them. I think it's different because guys, like we have purses, so a lot of our stuff that like when we come and go, we can keep it, like in our purse and stuff. But even just stuff like around the house, like if you're like, oh, Billy, can you get that blue picture frame that's on the second shelf down on your shelf there? And you're like, what? I don't see it. Where? It's like right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not like that. I would say I
You
lose
lose stuff.
stuff,
Yeah.
and then like I get angry because I'm like, oh, well, I know I left it here.
Right.
Right. And then all of a sudden, like I'll be looking for like 30 minutes. This is before I had all this technology. I would be looking for 30 minutes. Megan would come and she'd be like, hey, where was the last place you're at? But I was in here, but I know it's not there. I just checked. And then she'll come
Right.
out of the room and be like, here it is. I'm like, God
Yeah.
bless, like
That's kind of what I'm. That's
and
kind
then
of
you're
what
frustrated, right? And then you're like, well, yeah,
Kinda.
whatever. But yeah, that is a good one. That is, I'll have to
Yeah.
agree. Okay.
All right.
Um,
You're up.
so this is probably this is one, and for me, none of these are in any particular order. So telling me what to do while I'm driving
Ooh. Oh.
is a big annoyance, I think, for anybody.
Yep.
But like I think for especially for males,
Mhm.
it's an annoyance because like you're driving and it's like and it's not like, hey, like you do know where you're going. It's just like little things, right? Like you move the wheel or something like that, you go into traffic, you go into a little bit of the other lane because you're avoiding something or whatever,
Mhm.
right? But and then you'll hear that, what is it, the back seat driver, but really it's the
That's
side seat
yes.
driver.
Yes.
And so it's annoying, right? And then you get frustrated. And the last thing you want to do is be frustrated behind the wheel.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely telling me what to do while I'm
While
driving. Like
driving.
it's
Yeah.
always like, well, do you want me to pull over and do you want to drive? Like
Yes. Yeah, I sometimes like feel bad. I know, like, oh, you're gonna turn here, like, because it was just like going like really fast. Like, I sometimes feel bad saying stuff like that, but I'm definitely not one to tell people like guys how to drive.
like, oh, slow down. Like, you're like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about? I'm
and
going the
I
speed
think
limit.
probably if there's something where I felt uncomfortable, or I would say it as a joke versus like an order, I'd probably say like, "Oh God, we're gonna die."
So
Like,
let me ask you this: when in your past relationships, were you the driver, or I feel like there's somebody that drives majority of the time, for whatever reason. Some people like get car sick in the passenger seat, so they have to drive so
yeah,
that they don't get that way. But were you the driver or were you the passenger?
no, I'm always the passenger. I like to be the submissive in the driving field. I like to be driven around, and I do feel like it's like, no, you're like, you're the man. You're driving. You're driving. But I did. My ex-husband did have would get car sick a little bit just from anxiety, so he had to drive. I think in that realm, but it was only me or like his parents and stuff that he did feel comfortable with. So he did a little bit here and there. I drove, but I just feel more comfortable as the passenger with God.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless it's like a super cool car and I'm like, I'm driving, it's like the truck. I'm like, yeah, I want to drive the truck, but
Well,
not
for
often.
yeah, for us, Megan drives most of the time just because, like you said, it's kind of like especially like if on longer trips and stuff like
Yep.
that, like she'll get a little car sick, and so it's just beneficial for her to drive.
Yeah.
Plus, she has a brand new Subaru, so that's nice to ride around in instead of
Yeah.
my 2012 Kia.
Oh, that's so funny. I think that's a thing. I had a friend years ago who drove for work. She was in sales and drove so much that she was so used to driving that like she had to drive even around town. Like even though she would take like long trips up to New York and for her territory for work, but when it got to be let the Tesla take the
I
wheel.
don't.
Yes. And then you were both not driving. Like that's
Yes.
kind of no, speaking of anxiety when the car's
Yeah.
driving and having
Like
no control.
little Brandon, I can't even get StreamYard to work, let alone trying to drive a
Parallel park.
driveless car.
We did talk about that.
So but yeah, that's my first one. What's your next one?
Okay, so I don't like when you're out and that guys sometimes don't get the hint that you're trying to make them. This is also going to be something else that I talk later on. But there's been times where I've been with my date and or boyfriend, or like I'm like in a relationship and I'm trying to signal like or kicking under the table or like just kind of like something where like either you're not supposed to, you're like ruining the surprise, or they're not supposed to like something, or don't talk to that like I don't know, and I'm just like and they're like, what's wrong with you? Or I've literally gotten like, why are you kicking me under the table? And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like,
Yeah.
and then wait,
Yeah.
not only did you just make it like you
Even
didn't get
more
the hint,
awkward.
then you went, and then now I look like the asshole because I'm like kicking you under the table, and then everyone's like, what? Like there's clearly something,
Well, Brandon just said right here, you have to tell them in advance. And Brandon, I don't know
What
if
if
you
it's
caught,
what if it's
but
on the what if it's like a spontaneous thing? Like it's
but
just
but I think that plays into the number one gripe you had was that we're forgetful. I think that just in general is like a male thing. We forget pretty easily. So probably, I mean, I'm usually pretty good about reading the room and understanding like people's dynamics and everything like that. And so, you know, I've never done that where I've like let out something that I probably, it was like a surprise or somebody like that, or it's a topic that we shouldn't talk about. But I know I've been in the room when people have done that.
it just happened last Saturday, and honestly, like my best friends, and she was like, that's like you're not supposed to tell somebody that. That's like their private information. And then I got a text like later, it was like, yeah, like I hate when he blurts out stuff just like he's not supposed to say.
Yeah, there you go. Brandon said lots of men
Yes.
don't pick up on
This
cues.
this will be part of number 5, Brandon.
Yeah. So, moving right
Your
along.
next one.
Right. When men are sitting around, a lot of times, I just want to let people know, a lot of the times when we're just sitting around, maybe potentially watching TV or something like that, right? There's not a lot going on upstairs. Okay. It's very, just like I said, it's just one track, right? We're watching something, we're listening to something, whatever, right? And it might look like we have a lot of stuff going on, but we really don't. And so this plays into my next one. I wanted to lead in with that, right? And so when you ask what I'm thinking, right? Because often or not, it's, I would say, I'm going to say maybe 70% of the time, we're not thinking about anything in general, right? We're just thinking about just randomness stuff, right? Like just a lot of random stuff just kind of goes on up here. Unless you're doing like a project or you're working or something like that, then yes,
Right.
it's geared towards something. But for the most part, we just wander, right?
Yeah.
And thinking about just random stuff. And so like, if we told you what we were thinking sometimes, right, you would probably be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, right? And so we just keep it to ourselves because
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't know how you feel on that.
No, I agree, but it's funny. We were just there's a meme out there that there's a girl and she's in bed and she's looking this way and he's looking that way and he's awake and he's like contemplating and it's like, oh, he's probably thinking about other girls and he's like, oh, well, if I go to the office in the morning and I send all these emails, I can contact my client before this. Like it's just all these things about work or it's about, oh, I wonder how many Cheetos I can fit in my mouth if I shove them into from the bag. It's like stupid stuff and then the girl's like, oh, what is he thinking? He's probably, he's thinking about me or he's thinking, or like he doesn't like me, and like it was just something funny. So
Yeah, a lot of people are using that meme like, "Oh, he's thinking about girls." He's like, "Oh, I wonder which stock I need to invest in."
right,
Right?
right,
Like,
right, right, right. Yeah,
like
so I know it doesn't necessarily coincide with like, oh, what are you thinking? And I do think that I've been in situations with guys where you can tell that there's something that they're thinking that they're not saying, and maybe they're just, don't want to get into it, and you can kind of tell, or maybe it's just us like wanting to talk about it because we like to talk about stuff.
yeah, but I think it also comes down to like having really good communication with whomever you're with and knowing that, hey, like if there was a real problem, they're going to let me know.
Right,
Like
right.
in like if there's something on their mind, they let me know. And I try to do a good job of that, and just if something's coming up. Um but for
Yes.
the most part when it's just random, if I look like I have what's that the
Rest
resting bitch
in
face, right?
peace.
Um Probably
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about much.
Yes, 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 yes. So I think it does go back to communication on that. I think it's like and I think guys and girls can do the same thing because I know guys that are like, wondering what you're thinking and stuff. I think it's just that maybe there's just things that aren't resolved, if they're in a conversation or just in general, if there's something that's like not resolved and you're just trying to communicate
What
here. But
what does Brandon got here? He says, depends on the person. Normally I would be thinking about all kinds of things, but we still say nothing because it's too much to explain why you're thinking about the return rate on a vacation rental in Ocean City, Maryland.
yeah, you're like, this is gonna get into an hour conversation that I don't want to even have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, like I said, but it's just something that I've noticed, you know, throughout my life.
Yes.
So
Yes, that's good. Yeah. So my next one is, and again, not all men, but it has
we
been
have to
a joke.
preference every time we say one. It's not everybody. It's not anybody in particular. It's just
Well, yeah, and I'm like such a tidy, neat freak, but I hate like just boxers on the floor or a shirt on the floor. Literally, like the hamper is right there and you missed it by 2 feet and just left it on the floor. And then, it's also just like cleaning up or like not crumbs, but just like trash. Just like you open up something that has like one of those little lids that you have to pull back. And it's like that goes in the garbage, but it's just still sitting on the counter. Stuff gets put away, but not all of it. Just guess like messiness. I don't know. And it's not all. But I find that a lot of it's just and like clothes on the floor.
yeah. I mean, I think everybody to a certain extent is a little cluttered, but um I tend to do a lot of the laundry and
Right.
anyways, and so like, I it might be on the floor, but it might be in one pile, right? Ready to go go
Here's the
down.
hamper.
Sometimes the hamper's full, right? Sometimes it's one of those weeks.
You're late on your job.
Yes, I should probably pick 1 or 2 days a week to do a little bit of laundry instead of waiting on Sunday to do it all. So,
No, it's
but
fine.
yeah, no, I can see, I think being not keeping the area clean and stuff like that. If you like live with a dirty person, like that could be, yeah, that would be annoying, right? Especially if you're the person that's trying to clean everything.
Mhm.
If you're both dirty, then I guess it's fine. But I don't know.
No, shit.
I guess no one's coming over to your house. So,
Oh,
um, okay. My next one is when we ask, is everything fine? But it's not, but you tell us it's fine. Right. I think that is a
yeah.
meme, of I've seen it a million times, but we know something's wrong, right? And it's the one time guys pick up on cues. Uh, we know
Yep.
something's amiss. We know you're upset, and we want to know what it is. But I guess in the same token, as us not telling you about what we think about, right? That's probably the same. Like, well, I don't want to get into it right now. But
Right.
um, with that mad face, right? Saying no, everything's fine. He's like, no, I know I'm going to pay for this later.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like that I'm fine that women say, which you guys like are so nice. It's probably the same thing of like us and it's like, what are they thinking? It's I got
Yes.
thinking, what are they thinking? Or like, oh, so it's probably similar that it's just communication. But I've seen some memes that are like, the like when you hear like a woman say, I'm fine, like, oh, like, get ready, like back up, get the
You better go get some flowers. You better
something,
be very nice the
because
rest
yeah,
of
like
the day.
you should be scared, like you're in trouble, or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, I've definitely gotten better with being able to answer and express like, emotions and communicate. But then there's times where I'm just like, I like Brandon, like it's like I don't even want to get into it right now. I'm fine, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm fine, And the other one also, which is like, oh, have fun or good luck, when the girl says when the girl says these things, like you're like it's not okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely done that a lot, and I'm fine. But I think as I gotten older and just situations, I'd be like, I'm fine. And then I think like I'd be like, no, you know what? I'm not fine. Like I'd follow it up and
Yeah.
be
Like,
like, blah, blah,
you know what? Like on second thought, right? I'm
yeah.
not fine. But I also think too, like sometimes like I think about like, like just arguments in general, not with anybody in particular, but like in arguments in general, like do you ever get in the middle of an argument, you're like, all right, there's no point to this argument. Like
Yeah.
if you win, so what? Like nothing's gonna come. Like nothing good is gonna come out of this.
Yeah.
Like and so it's just like maybe it's like you already preemptively are thinking like, hey, I could say this, but in the end, like it's not gonna really
Right.
like make anything better, right? It's just we're both gonna be pissed off,
Yeah.
and we're just both gonna hate each other for the next couple hours until one of us is
Yeah. It's like not gonna go.
inevitably until one of us is hungry, right? And then it's always like, "Hey, are you hungry?" And like, "Oh yeah, I could go
Or
eat."
maybe that's
Okay.
why you're fighting is because I when I get hangry, man. Uh,
It's like, yeah,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're friends again, or you're everything's
Yeah.
fine. So,
Yeah, I definitely think like, that definitely situations where I just was like, this is not like it's not going anywhere. It's not being resolved. It's like you're going in circles, or you want someone to understand a perspective that they're not understanding, or vice versa. And it's just kind of like whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um, yeah.
you're next.
So I would say for my fourth one, because some of that is actually part of my fifth that we were just talking about, but just like not being fun or not wanting to have fun and be
Hmm.
spontaneous, I get just a little bit annoyed of like too much, like too serious, or
Yeah.
when I want to be stupid and silly and funny, like being like yelled at, or like, oh, you're too this. Like I just want to have fun, and I think a lot of girls like just like to have a good time. And there's times where guys like shut it down and or just aren't fun themselves, where you can just be that like spontaneous and funny. I've just had a couple experience where I'm like, this sucks. This
Yeah.
isn't fun.
Yeah, and I also think it comes down to maybe
Fun.
that person not being comfortable with themselves, or right,
Right.
or maybe not knowing how to open up. And like we talk about all the time here on the show, we talk about, especially for guys, it's fine to open up and be emotional and be, vulnerable and stuff like that. And I feel like being spontaneous and like being able to like say something stupid right in front of your spouse and they laugh, right, and
Mhm.
you laugh too, and it's just like, oh, like I can be like totally comfortable around this person, like,
Yeah.
or so like I like to do like stupid little things and stuff like that, and like there's some instances where where you want to be planned out and serious, but life is way too serious already.
Mhm.
So like I feel like for me, like some of those moments, like between me and Megan, where when it is spontaneous and it is just like funny and we just say something stupid. It's like some of those are the best moments.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I know it depends on personality. I know it depends on people's, how they are and just what they, oh yeah, Elaine. Hey, Elaine. She's like, oh, I missed this topic from the beginning. Great topic. Well, hey, you can watch, you can always rewatch the beginning, but, thanks for watching. And yeah, I think it is about obviously personality and, your interests and stuff. And I also think it is a combination between two people sometimes because, I am the same way, let's just say with 2 or 3 different guys, but it's just somehow maybe like just the interaction or the chemistry or the connection or lack
Yeah.
thereof. And, being spontaneous, or it's just, that like, that feeling of being like not equal in certain times. We talked about that transactional analysis that I learned about, like being a parent, one person feeling like they're a parent.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be, I have my parents and they don't even tell me what, they don't give a shit what I do and like tell me what to do. So I think that there's times where it's that just like that level of being fun and equal. I mean, yeah, I do think there has to be, sometimes you have to step in and be a little bit of a
Yeah.
parent, but yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't want to be, it's like, I got my dad. I don't want another dad.
So I think my next one leads to probably the most arguments in most relationships, right? This is the number one thing I believe that leads into arguments. And it's very simple. And a lot of people are going to be doing it tonight, talking about this topic tonight. And it's where you want to go eat.
Oh, you're not
and
wrong.
and it's always, and I've, there's a lot of different things that you can do to help alleviate this situation because it is a pandemic in the world right now. People are, or epidemic or whatever. People are dealing with this, and I want to help people, right? So I want them to understand there's a problem first. So asking that other person, where do you want to go eat? I don't care, wherever you want to go. Okay, let's go.
I know.
Let's go
It
to
has to be so nice.
XYZ. Oh, I don't want to go to XYZ. Well, you just told me whatever you want,
Wherever.
right?
We're not there.
And so, like, one of the things that I do, right? Because it's so hard to think about what you want to go eat. Like, it's like because there's so many good places in your mind. You're like, oh,
Mhm.
haven't been here in a while. Haven't been here. Haven't been here. Right. So, one question you can always ask to alleviate this argument is ask that other person what they don't want to eat.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good
And it's
idea.
like, so it eliminates a bunch of different places already. Like,
Right.
oh, I don't want Chinese food. I don't want Mexican. I don't want this. I don't want that. Great. Right. And then, I always try to figure out like 2 or 3 places and be like, all right, these are the 3 places I want to go. Which one, don't you want to go to?
Right.
Okay. Right. And then we pick the place. Right.
Right.
So, but before I learned those things, right, it was definitely, I don't think it's with anybody. It's not just with the opposite sex. Like I've done it. It's been with guys as well, right? Like you're just like, oh, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Mhm.
Right? It's like the default answer. Like, well, I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Right. Yeah, I think it is definitely a thing that women, I don't want this, or I don't know. But then when you say, well, how about Chipotle? It's like, no, I don't want that. You're right. There's definitely something there. And Brandon, what did Brandon say? Sometimes you just end up throwing chairs. Yes, it gets frustrating.
There's a meme of The Notebook when they're in the rain.
Mhm.
And like he's yelling at her, he's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I don't know." And it's like somebody put at the top is like trying to figure out where they're going to eat tonight.
Dinner. Yeah. No, I mean, I've
know?
definitely been there. I think there's times where I'm just so indecisive that I want someone to make a decision. But I think it's also because a lot of times I'll be craving pizza, or I'll be craving like a nice pasta or something. And I think it's when I'm not craving anything that I'm like, I really don't, I don't know.
That's the worst. That is the worst.
And it's also because I think it's hard. I mean, there's most places that have a big menu enough that you can find, everybody can find something that they would like. But it's also, I think that it's like it's pressure to make sure that the other person wants, you're not really sure what you want. They don't know what, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great one. I have been a culprit of that. But usually I'm like, I just want, an espresso martini and some, greasy
some chips
pizza.
or some nachos or something like that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's also because of like I like to go to the restaurants and like for the vibe and the atmosphere and it's
Yeah.
easier to pick with that when you want to like actually go somewhere versus just eating like on a
That's
Sunday.
probably not a thing guys most think about when they're going to go eat somewhere is the vibe. That's
Yeah.
probably not the first
I
thought
think,
that runs through
yeah,
our
I
mind.
think it's usually more like when you're eating it, like when you're trying to get to go food for me, like or you're getting DoorDash or you're getting like carry out. Oh, well, what do you want? I don't know, because yeah, I think usually when you're going out, it kind of encompasses everything about the experience. But when you're getting food, to eat at home, you're trying to, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the just to go aspect of that question is
Yes.
a completely other podcast at this point.
Yes. Yes.
But so that was so I have one more left,
Okay. So
and you should have what
I
one
go
more or
first.
three more left because you have
Oh no, I did. I'm on number 5.
okay. So but you
So
had bonus ones I thought as well.
oh, so technically, okay. So yeah, sure. Okay. Well, they're kind of all together, but not really. So I'll do number 5 is just like insecurity and like it's annoying when a guy's like doesn't have confidence because typically like if you're together or you're doing things, it's like I want to be with you. I want to spend the time, in a sense, like if we're in a relationship and I just feel that just whether it's jealousy or insecurity, like it's just really annoying having to explain to somebody that you care about them and you want to be with them. And I just think it's more of like that confidence or, versus insecurity and also like it's not cool to be a cocky jerk. So I think it
Mhm.
all encompasses that just sort of confidence. It's annoying when it's not when you're not. I don't know how to describe it.
No, I
Like an
mean,
annoyance. I think it's just more being like the insecurity side.
yeah, I mean, I think that's true for both sides. Like I feel like
Yeah.
both sides deal with that. I think it's just it has to deal with probably and speaking from relationship wise, like taking in past things that had happened to them
Right.
before, right? Like you always tell yourself, well, this is a brand new relationship. I'm not going to take any baggage in with me, and you take everything in with you,
Right.
right? Um,
When you're not
and
ready.
so
Yeah. If you're not ready. Yeah. Sure.
yeah, and so but yeah, being the whole insecurity thing, yeah, that could be definitely annoying. I could see
Well, yeah,
that.
because I feel like it's not being present either, and you're having to deal with making them feel like they're, you want to be with them, or you're, whether it's the jealousy or,
Mm,
being the way that they are, like kind of covering up. It's just like it just doesn't seem real to me. It just sort of seems like you're not able to. It's like you're having to make up for that stuff, and that's what I guess that's the annoyance part of me is like I just want to. I want to like have those things. I don't want to have to justify things or explain myself or be accused of things because of the because of the way that somebody else is. I don't want to have to. I don't. I don't know if that makes sense.
no, it does. No, I totally like I said. I think both sides deal with that. Definitely from just like you said, just bringing in past things. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. So yeah.
Yep.
Moving to my last one, right? And it has to go with something we were talking about earlier. But it's I guess I'm gonna encompass it in everything in one segment. What we find annoying as men is women's clothing in general. Okay, because if you think about it for an instance, right? Men's clothes are very simple, right? There's pants, jeans, like they're the same thing pretty much, right? There's dress shirts, polos, t-shirts, and like sweaters, right? There's
Mhm.
very like it doesn't get much different than that.
Yes.
So when you're doing laundry, right, these things are easy to fold, put away, right? They fold nicely and stuff like that. But women's clothes, it's like trying to figure out how to get to the moon, right? Because it's like especially if you're washing something, right? If you're washing clothes, right? There's certain things that have to be hung. There's certain things that need to be tumble dry. There's certain things that can only be washed together, right? With woolite, right? Because there's every different form of clothing, because there's like so many different things. There's shawls, there's different kinds of sweaters, there's all camis, all the different things. Right? Sports bra, you name it, right? There's a half a million different types
Yeah.
of clothing that you guys wear, and it's
Yeah.
just confusing. And
Well, and to you,
ha-
because you do the laundry more, like I'm sure you have to do all that.
but like I said, like even when going shopping, like it's very like easy for a guy to go shopping. They're like, I need polos. They're pretty much the same. They come in different colors, right?
Yeah.
I need a pair of jeans,
Yep.
right? These are the fits, right? Boot cut, slim, whatever, right? I need a I need a jacket, right? There's different types of jackets, but it's pretty much very easy for us to shop. Now I understand doing laundry why it takes longer for you guys to shop, because there's so many different things
Right.
to look at.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it also is about like your appearance. I mean, I think that there's totally a lot of men that like fashion and like are more into their appearance and then, just like women. And I think that there's some women that aren't into their, the appearance or the like it as a I don't want to say like a priority or like a hobby. I mean, I think for me, like I look at sometimes it being fashionable and like really enjoying all those accessories and all those different things and being able to wear different styles and different that like it's I think it's fun, but I can definitely see that with guys. I had one on my list that I forgot to put down, so since you said this is that I'm not into khaki shorts, like the cargo pocket
Ooh,
khaki.
cargo
So
pockets.
I'm gonna say
Yes.
annoyance would
Terrible.
be in the fashion world. This is actually should have been my five like funny ones, okay, and then my serious ones would come. But if you want me to like just add on to your fashion thing, because you're saying about how women have all these different things, and I get it. Well, khaki shorts, khaki cargo shorts. I don't like the pockets. Okay, annoying to me. And then the white shirt this just came up on Saturday night, the white tee underneath a sweater or a dress shirt that you can see. And it is a central Pennsylvania thing. Most women
Yes.
will say that it is like a central Pennsylvania thing for like a guy to be wearing a t-shirt that is either a color or white that you can see out of, the collar or a sweater or like coming out of it. And I actually just was just on it on Saturday night. I'm like, I can't believe it. Like it was just so funny with our friends. But that to me, it's annoying. But again, it's because I think I am somewhat fashionable, and what I would do as a guy.
Well,
But
they
no,
make those little, like, they're
they make
not
V-necks.
V-necks.
Yeah,
They're not like the tradition, like the V-neck that most guys think about that come like down to their chest. It's
right,
like very like it just like comes like right here,
right.
and then you put a shirt on and you can't even tell that you have an undershirt on,
Yes,
right? But I think probably one thing that I could probably speak to that I have a lot of that probably would annoy somebody is socks, right? I think guys have, for some reason, have a thing for like all these different colored socks and stuff like that. I think it's like the one way we can like actually be fashionable, like if you're wearing a suit and stuff like that,
yeah,
other than
the
your tie
funky
and
hats.
whatnot.
I like that.
You
Yeah,
know, what are we
not allowed to
not?
go out with me. What is that? Oh gosh, I didn't know
um,
which one she was referring to. If it was the khaki or
Oh, I
her
mean
her
that is
clothing.
terrible. Khaki cargo shorts are only really meant for one thing, and that's hiking, because you're going to carry a bunch of stuff. Or if you're like a dad, right? Like that's probably like quintessential dad gear. But Megan knows that I do not have a pair of. I maybe have one pair, but it's for hiking, and I think they're not. Yeah, I have one pair and it's for hiking.
That's
So it's
funny.
the only time I would wear it. I think that's the only time acceptable to wear it, except for being a dad.
Funny.
So, but yes, the
That's your
going on to,
fifth one.
huh?
Was that your fifth one? The
That
fact
was my fifth and final one. My top five things that
you'll have
men
to
find most
if you
annoying.
if you have to type them underneath or send them to me. I want to post them. I want to post mine and yours on the Facebook post so that people can see them. But I would just say that My other serious one, it kind of goes along what you were saying about being vulnerable, and that I think that some guys do have trouble sometimes with being open and vulnerable. But that is something that I think women do want, is men to be able to, be vulnerable and be sensitive and all that. I wouldn't say it's an annoyance. It's just something that I think, we like. But the annoyance part of it, I guess for me, would just be like poor communication, where it's either not sharing the things that like we might need to know, like, oh yeah, so and so's coming tonight. Oh yeah, like that guys sometimes think either that they told you already or that it's not a big deal. In the communication, we like to know everything that is like happening and not to be surprised sometimes last minute. So I think the communication on the side of like making sure that the details are, somewhat conveyed, but also the communication of like, hey, we want to talk about stuff sometimes, and like not to shut down, like not to sweep things under the rug. Or, I think women do feel like a lot of times they're a little bit more of the expressive and want to talk things through. Me personally, a lot of times I want to talk about it now. Like I don't want to wait, or I don't want to sleep, or I don't want to, do things. But I've gotten better with that as I've gotten older, and just like we said about taking the time. But so like that whole communication, just I think there's a lot of things that could be annoying. And my main one that about when I said about the hints and stuff, I think that one of the biggest things to me right now that is the most annoying about men, and I am single. I have been married, divorced. I have been in and out of relationships. I have a lot of guy friends that are married. One of the biggest annoyances right now with me is that I can't be friends with men that don't want something more. And I get it. It's more of an acquaintance. My guy friends are all my best friends' husbands. And right now, I'm not out searching for male friends. I'm not. If we happen to like meet people, I don't go out. I'm not like flirting. I'm not looking for a friend or a relationship, honestly, right now. But I don't like when you can't just be, just be friendly and just be nice. It's a thing that I've had my whole life. Right now, it's just that people have their own agenda, and unfortunately, I spoke with my counselor about it and a lot of my friends that it's sometimes people don't listen. It's just like kind of just men and women. If one person likes the person a little bit more, and I've been on both sides of this, but I think right now I try to read the situation, and I try to read, is somebody into me or not? Is this is I don't know. And I try to not also make it out to be something that it's not. And again, I don't have many guy friends, but from a long standpoint, or it's been just an acquaintance or a professional, somebody that's been more of a work person. But honestly, it's just right now is that somebody might have their own agenda, and then they just don't listen to you. And when you say, and it's more on the single side of it, because I think a lot of the stuff that we talked about could have also been like relationship based. It's like definitely things that are annoyances when you live with somebody, or when it's your boyfriend or your wife or your spouse. So those definitely were all of my things that absolutely are relationship based. Okay. And from my experience. But right now, being single, what is extremely annoying is just men who just don't listen, and or like just they like don't I don't know if it just reads signals or what, and then it just it's actually happening. It's happened with a few people. And I just think that it's whether it's respect or it's just they get an agenda. And I think men are just different with women in that sense, that they kind of want something, so they make it what they want, even though it's not reciprocated. And it becomes super annoying when it's not, you feel like you're not being heard.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it comes down to cues and being able to read somebody and see body language and understand like, hey, this is probably not the time nor the place, right? And just understanding like, if a situation, especially in the single world, is going to happen, it's going to happen regardless of, how you guys interact. Like at first, like if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen, right? Down the road. But yeah, I'm with you. Forcing the issue or something like that, or just not being cognizant of just
Aware. Yeah.
what of
Cognizant's a good word.
yeah, of just
Aware.
your surroundings,
Yeah.
right? And just understanding, like, reading the room and reading the situation, be like, hey, this is probably not the greatest time to do this, right?
Right.
There's a
Right.
time for this, and it's not right now. So,
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think even, when I am out, and then there's, on the single side of things too. I mean, there's just I think it's also just different generation, because there's guys, now I'm like on the downslope to 40, so it's like the 20-year-old guys that think that I'm still in my 20s, and they say like, oh, here, put your number in my phone, or so I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you, I'm not interested, or whatever. It's like, oh, then they get mad, or they're
well, they get embarrassed.
pushy.
The
Well,
sad
yeah,
that
even if there's nobody around, but it's just like, I think that there's just different generations of guys. I'm kind of in this place where there's major difference between 20 and younger 30, and then the like older 40, and then there's 50, which is too old for me. But there's a major difference between that, and I'm just kind of in this middle where I'm like, it just all annoys me.
Yeah.
It's hard to be single, okay? Single Melissa is annoyed by most single men, okay?
Yeah, could not imagine it right now. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I can't just imagine. Like, I was watching like a YouTube video or something like that, and it was two guys arguing, and they were at a bar, and I was like, man, I'm glad I don't have to go out to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't that type of guy, I'm just saying, like, deal with that kind of craziness. But anyways, right, I think today was a really good show. But if this is your first time watching, right, welcome, first of all. And if you're just coming on right now, we just talked about the 5 things that annoy us about, the opposite sex, right? So the 5 things that we see. But at the end of every show, what we like to do is we like to have a millennial meme of the week.
Millennial meme.
And so the meme came from my niece. She said, me and my wife were showing memes back and forth to each other, and she says, oh, memes are so millennial. And they are, and everybody loves memes, right? You can just go on social media, and it's probably like, I feel like social media is like 80% memes, 20% like other information.
Absolutely.
But last week was my opportunity to do the meme of the week. And so I believe, Mel, this is your first meme of 2022.
For real.
So take it away. No, it's all you.
Wow. Okay. I thought this was great. If anybody I should say in their 20s, anybody 10 years ago-ish liked some e-cards as much as I did, this is a throwback millennial meme to years ago, and it's one of the some e-cards. So if you know them,
oh my God.
It's a black and white image, and it's a woman who just stabbed a man with her high heel. It looks like, I don't know, maybe not, but it says, "Not all men are annoying. Some are dead." So some of them are dead, but yeah. So she must have killed him, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Right now, that's kind of how I'm feeling about most single men. But
I love it. I do love those. I didn't know what they were called, but I've seen those a million times in other places.
That's like kind of like, honestly, the pre-millennial pre-meme. Like they had them, and it was obviously a free. You could send them to your friends and stuff. And I used to send them to guys, because some of them are actually like raunchy or like naughty. There's definitely ones that are like sexual and stuff, and you could send them just to be funny, like as a a sext, if you're like sending little things, you could like send it. But there's just some really funny.
There are some funny ones
too. So like, yeah.
There are definitely some funny ones, right? And so that was a millennial meme of the week. And so one other thing we like to do before we wrap up the show is we love to let Mel, because Mel likes to talk, right? She says that all the time on the show. She likes to talk. That's why she started this podcast, right? No, and she shouldn't feel bad about it, and she doesn't. And so why not give her just a little bit more time to share with us some advice. So we give her Mel's moment, right?
No, oh, man.
Right at the end of the show, where Mel gets to share some type of advice or really whatever's just rattling around up there, right? She's just going to let us know how she's feeling in the last couple minutes of the show. So Mel, go ahead, take it away.
Okay, I would say, and I'll sum this up to make this quick. Yeah, I just think that a lot of times people might annoy you. They might not be for you. I think that, when we look at these things that we said that were annoying, I think when you're with somebody that you want to be with and that you love and you connect with, like those things aren't annoyances, so there shouldn't be things from my perspective that I'm being so annoyed with by somebody. It's just probably not, like it's just not meant to be. Or if there's things that are just constantly there. And I think vice versa, if somebody's feeling annoyed by the things that you do, like telling you that you talk too much all the time, not you, Billy, I just mean like in a relationship. Like I want somebody to find that, not attractive, but you know what I mean? I want someone to find that as like, just, oh, that's Melissa. She just talks a lot, or how cute, or, oh, she won't stop talking, like, ha ha ha. I don't want it to be like a real, I am who I am. And like, we shouldn't change who we are. If there are things that annoy people, then we're just not for them. I want anything that is an annoyance. I think when it's the right person, it's not an annoyance, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah.
No, that was good. I like that. And you hit on something
Be
very
who you
specific.
are, be who you are.
Yeah, you hit on something very, if you really love that person or you want to be with that person, even if you do find it remotely annoying, like you're willing to get past it, right? Because you just know
we're not perfect. There's gonna be little
no
things.
one's perfect, right? Everybody has flaws. Everybody has little things that they do that you don't even know that you do, right? Because you just do them and you just think it's just part of everyday life, and that other person, it annoys them, right? Just happens, right? So, but anyways, guys, we appreciate everybody that jumped on today, that commented, that engaged with us today. We hope this was a fun show for you guys. We think it was fun. We like talking about these types of things. And so, maybe one time you guys can put in the comment section what you want us to talk about, right? Because we want to talk about what you guys want to hear about, and you can hear it from our perspective. So, the millennial perspective. So, but anyways, make sure you always check us out Friday, 2:00. Set your notifications. If you haven't gone and liked our Facebook page, The Millennial, go do that now, right? Or go share it with a bunch of your friends, because they need to hear this type of stuff too. They need a good laugh every once in a while. So, but anyways, guys, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you make some good memories. And like I said, we will see you next Friday.
Bye.